Hello everyone, my name is Paisley and today I'm going to be an OT. So I'm going to be administrating the Peabody Developmental Motor Skills Assessment on my client Sally, and I'll be administering this in her home. I'll be utilizing things in her home, so this will be a home health setting. So this is the Peabody Developmental Motor Skills Assessment. It's also referred to as the PDMS-2 assessment. And this assessment is used as a reliable tool used by healthcare professionals to measure both fine and gross motor activities in children from birth to 5 years old. And my client Sally is 59 months old, and she has been struggling with some fine motor and gross motor activities. So what I'm going to be doing as a therapist, occupational therapist, I'm going to pick two subsets from each gross motor and fine motor subsets of the Peabody. So I'm going to be picking, under the gross motor category, stationary gross motor activities. And from the fine motor, I'm going to be picking visual motor integration. Okay? So what that means is stationary gross motor activities are activities that involve the child doing movement in a stationary position. So they're standing still, sitting still, whatever. So this will test the child's body positioning, their trunk stability, and their overall balance. And then to the fine motor activity, the visual motor integration, that involves the child's how they can effectively use their hand-eye coordination to complete a task. So that's assessing how they use their visual tracking and overall their fine motor control. Okay? So first, as I said, we're going to start off assessing Sally's gross motor ability, and I'm going to assess Sally's ability to stand on one foot. So I will demonstrate standing on one foot for a total of 10 seconds, and then I will say to Sally, put your hands on your hips and stand on one foot and then the other, just like I did. So I will demonstrate it and then instruct Sally how to do the test, and then she will complete it. So while she's completing it, I will be counting out loud for her. That way I can encourage Sally to balance longer. So just kind of pressuring her a little bit to try to push her in this task. So once Sally has completed the stationary gross motor test of standing on one foot on each side, I will score her. So the scoring of this, so we'll go in here, and this will be under 49 months because that's how old Sally is, and under gross motor, we're going to be on standing on one foot. Okay, 1 second. Okay, here we are. So for scoring of this, if Sally completely stands on each foot, their hands on her hips, without swaying for more than 20 degrees, if she doesn't sway more than 20 degrees and she stands on each foot for 10 seconds, she will receive a score of a 2. So 2 is the best that she can do. 1, if she scores 1 point, that means that she stood on each foot, their hands on her hips, but she did sway more than 20 degrees, and she was only able to stand on each foot for about 5 to 9 seconds. And then if she scores a 0, that means Sally was, she wasn't able to stand on each foot for more than 5 seconds, and she again swayed more than 20 degrees. Or she was only able to complete the test on one foot. So based on Sally's score, I will be able to tell how developed Sally is when it comes to body positioning, her trunk stability, and her overall balance. So next I will move into the visual integration fine motor ability test. and I'm going to assess Sally's ability to color in between lines. So I will place the paper with parallel lines, like this, on the table in front of Sally, and a marker on the table as well. I will run my finger back and forth between the middle of the lines, and I will say to Sally, color only between the lines. Once Sally has completed this task of coloring, again, I will score her. So we're going to go under fine motor here in the Peabody, and we're going to go to visual integration, and we're going to go to 49 months again, because that's how old Sally is. And we're going to look at the scoring. So scoring for Sally on this, she will receive a 2, which is the best she can do if she colors 3/4 of space without crossing lines more than 2 times. She will receive a 1 if she colors 3/4 of space and crosses the lines 3 to 4 times, and she will receive a 0 if she crosses the lines more than 4 times. So again, based on Sally's score, I will be able to tell how developed Sally's visual tracking or fine motor control is. Okay, so that's a brief overview of what we're doing. So now we're going to go ahead and test. So Sally, we're going to start with our gross motor one first. All right. So as I said before, we're going to go back here in the Peabody under gross motor. We're going to go to stationary gross motor task, standing on 1 foot. Okay, so Sally, I'm going to demonstrate this for you first. And so I'm going to put my hands on my hips, and I'm going to stand on 1 foot just like this, and I'm going to count out loud. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. Okay? Then after I do that, I'm going to switch, go to my other foot, keep my hands on my hips, and go 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. Okay? So I'm going to have you do just as I did, okay? And I'm going to count out loud for you.
Okay.
You can start on whatever foot you wish. Okay. 1, 2, 3, 4. That's okay. Do you want to try again?
Yeah.
Okay, we'll start on that foot again. So here we go. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. Okay. We're going to go to the other foot now.
Okay.
Good. 1, 2, 3, 4. Gotcha. Okay. Well, we're going to be done.
Can I do it again?
Yeah, sure, if you want to.
Okay.
Okay.
That foot isn't good.
That's okay.
Okay.
1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Okay. So as we can see, Sally consistently scored a 1 on this on both of her feet. So that means that she stood on each foot with her hands on her hips without swaying more than 20 degrees. But she did sway a little, but she was only able to stay in there for about 6 seconds on each foot, okay? So she did sway 20 degrees, and she wasn't able to stand for that full 10 seconds. That would have got her a score of a 2, okay? So Sally, I know you're a little energetic right now, but we're gonna have you come and sit down, and we're gonna do a fine motor test now, okay? So, like I said before, we're gonna go into the Peabody here. We're gonna go back to fine motor visual integration. And we're going to, let's not do that, Sally, just 1 second. We're going to go to visual integration and go to full 59 months. Okay, so in front of me here, Sally, I have a paper that has parallel lines on it, okay? I'm gonna have you color only between the lines, okay, right in this area.
Okay.
All right, so I'm gonna have you go ahead and do that for me. Good job. Thank you for the smiley face. Okay, so based off of Sally's drawing that she did here, so again on the scoring, for her to get a 2, she would have had to color 3/4 of the space without crossing the lines more than 2 times. And I can see here that Sally did cross the lines multiple times. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. About 8 times, okay? So unfortunately, Sally would receive a 0 for this test just because if she crossed more than 4 times, that's what she would receive as a score. So going back to our stationary gross motor assessment, Sally received a 1 there because she did sway more than 20 degrees and she wasn't able to stand on one foot for more than 5 to 9 seconds, or that's as long as she could. She went over about 6. So she received a 1 for that test. Then for this one, she received a 0 because she did not, she wasn't able to stay in the line. So this was her visual integration fine motor test. So based off of Sally's scoring, we can tell that she is struggling with some of these aspects, and to get a better idea for what Sally needs to work on, we would do more activities within the P-body of both fine and gross motor activities. And based on that, on what information we got, we could potentially see if Sally needed occupational therapy or not to try to enhance her gross and fine motor abilities. Thank you.